You're listening to the Unlocking Financial Freedom podcast, episode number 4. I'm continuing with our series on achieving financial freedom through personal financial planning. And in today's episode, I'll be talking about the relationship between the financial planner and the client. Because at the heart of financial planning and the financial planning process, it is this relationship that makes or breaks your financial plans. I'll also be talking about the social media conversation I'm hosting on my website. So, do stay tuned. Hello, sanibonani njani, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Unlocking Financial Freedom podcast. I'm your host, Usamgelo Wakamagogo, but you can also call me Chief Kasi Economist or Ungibize Government Guy. Any of those names will do. Once again, I'm happy and excited, really excited that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to listen to this episode of the Unlocking Financial Freedom podcast. This is part 4 of 4 of the series I'm doing on achieving financial freedom through personal financial planning. And for the benefit of those who haven't been following the series, I'd like to basically recap on what I've talked about on the series. So in part 1 of the series, I introduced you to the concept of personal financial planning. A recap on what I've talked about on the series. So in part 1 of the series, I introduced you to the concept of personal financial planning and the study and the process of financial planning. And I showed you how it can help you achieve financial freedom. And I talked about the 2 pillars of financial planning, which are the wealth creation pillar as well as the wealth preservation pillar of financial planning. And after that, I then introduced you to the 6-step financial planning process. And this is the process financial planners follow, or should follow rather, because some people don't actually follow it. This is the 6-step financial planning process that financial planners and advisors should follow in order to have a structured and methodical approach in helping you achieve your financial goals. And in episode 2, I dedicated the whole episode to the wealth preservation pillar of financial planning, like protecting your wealth and protecting your assets through insurance, through estate planning and planning for life after death. This is a bit counterintuitive, if I can put it that way, because a lot of people start thinking that when they want to execute their financial plans, they'll usually start with investing in wealth creation and talk about the amount of assets they want to amass and all that. But it's actually counterintuitive. You actually have to start with your risk first, with your risk planning and protecting yourself, your assets. For young graduates, your income earning ability is your biggest assets, because most probably you don't have a big house, a fancy car and so on, but you do have your education and you do have your degree and your work experience and so on in your job. So the biggest thing you have to protect is work experience and so on in your job. So the biggest thing you have to protect as a young person is your income earning ability. So in part 2 of the series, I talked about wealth preservation and wealth protection. And in part 3, I dedicated the whole episode to the wealth creation pillar of financial planning, and I shared 6 strategies you can use in your wealth creation activities. And all of these strategies, I listed them from the easiest ones to the hardest ones. And one of the strategies I shared was being a giver and a tither if you are a Christian, but being a giver, being a giving person, giving out information and giving out money. I actually made an example about, have you ever noticed that people like Oprah Winfrey, who are philanthropists, people like Bill Gates, these celebrities and these high profile people, they give out a lot. They give out a lot of their money. And this is because they understand the principle of giving and the biblical principle of giving, that if you give, it shall be given unto you, and so on. That's basically what I took you through. I do encourage you to check those out because it will help you when you're listening to this episode so that you have everything in context. And now, in today's episode, I'll be talking about the relationship between you and the financial planner, between you as a client as well as the financial planner. This is a very important relationship because at the core and at the heart of this financial planning that I'm talking about, this financial freedom that I'm talking about, is you and your financial advisor. I know that a lot of people don't trust financial advisors due to past experiences, and I'd like to know, have you or someone close to you ever been a victim of bad financial advice? I'll give you a moment to answer that question, but for now, let's go to an ad break. I'll see you after the break. Hey guys, sanibonani ninjani? I'm Chief Kasi Economist, and I'd like to share an exciting competition I'm hosting on my website. The winner of the competition will walk away with a registered company as well as a well-designed WordPress website. So listen up on how you enter. Step 1. Log on to YouTube and search for my channel, which is Chief Kasi Economist. Once you find the channel, the first thing you'll do is that you'll subscribe to it and then share any of the videos you find on the channel on Facebook with the hashtag Samkelo MAG, Samkelo Mag. Then the second step is that you log on Facebook and search for Chief Kasi Economist again. Then you'll find my page, and the first thing you'll do, you'll like the page, and then after liking it, share the page on your Facebook profile with the hashtag Samkelo Mag or Samkelo MAG. The grand prize, as I said, includes a registered company and a well-designed WordPress website. So, get on the competition and start entering. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Once again, I hope you are excited about the competition I'm hosting on the samkelomag.co.za website for my Samkelo Makwoko personal brand, Samkelo Makwoko personal brand. And you guys know what to do. Do enter the competition. And once again, I hope you guys enjoy it. And yeah, man. So back to our topic for today, which is the relationship between the financial planner and the client. And before the break, I had posed a question to you about whether or not you've ever been a victim of bad financial advice, or anyone in your family has been a victim of bad financial advice. I asked this because the thing is, financial products are intangible. Financial products are basically services and promises about future events that might happen or that might not happen. Especially when you talk about insurance products, they are effectively promises. If you take a funeral policy, for example, or a life cover policy, the insurer basically promises you that in the event of the insured event happening, of the benefit event happening, of you passing away, then they pay out a certain amount of money, which was your cover, to your family and your dependents and your beneficiaries. So financial products are intangible, and this is why it's very important to have a clued up financial advisor, someone who knows what they're talking about, because at the initial stage when you're starting a relationship and buying a financial product, it's important to buy the right product, because if you bought the wrong product, you can only see that at claim stage when you want to use the product, and that is often years later when you're paying for this product and so on. Now, I'd like to basically give a history lesson about financial services and financial products in South African context. So currently the financial advisory landscape in South Africa and the financial planning environment is governed by the Financial Advisory and Intermediary Services Act. So before this act was promulgated and was made law, historically the distribution of financial products and as well as financial services was very sales oriented. The product worked, yes, but they didn't do something called a needs analysis, basically analyzing what is your need and giving you a relevant financial product. They just sell products. So typically the training focused a lot on selling skills and methods of handling objections over the phone usually. And the ultimate goal was just to sell a product to the client. Now, this is what happened in previous years, and you'll find that even today, because the Phase Act was promulgated in 2002 and was made law in 2004, so it was put into effect in 2004. So now you'll find that a lot of people who were in the industry pre-phase found it hard to adapt and become a person or a financial planner that looks at needs of a person and so on. And also they still have those mentalities, even the managers and the whole industry as a whole. There's still a bit of selling and so on that happens without a proper needs analysis being made. So after the government seeing that everyone and anyone is selling these products in the industry and they're not doing a needs analysis, they then introduced the Financial Advisory and Intermediary Services Act. So as the name says, it's an Advisory and Intermediary Services Act. So the act basically governs the advice given by financial planners. And the act basically says it governs the remuneration and the conduct of financial advisors. So after the Phase Act was introduced, then people had to adhere to a general code of conduct of the Phase Act, and there was an ombud of the Phase there was an ombud of the Phase Act, which meant that people had recourse to complain about financial products. So that's what happened then after the Phase Act was introduced. But I'd like to share a story about my mom, because she was a victim of bad financial advice, and at a really crucial stage of her life, at retirement, when she was retiring, she was a victim of bad financial advice, which led her to making decisions that really worked against her after all her life working for the government and so on. So one of the reasons why I love talking about financial planning, and I went into this financial planning industry as a financial planner and advisor myself, is because I wanted to be the change I want to see and to help people really see the true value of financial planning if it's done the right way. So the relationship between the financial planner and the client is quite important, and for me to explain this, I wanna explain the type of advisors that exist. So there are two types of advisors that exist, and this basically is aligned to the product distribution model. So there are tied advisors, an advisor that only advises on specific company products and does not advise on other company products. So this doesn't mean that the advisor can't offer the other products. It just means that primarily they use their company's products because they are hired by their company. So if you are hired by Sanlam, you'll advise on company. So if you are hired by Sanlam, you'll advise on Sanlam products. If you are hired by Old Mutual, you advise on Old Mutual products. But if a client says to you they want to deal with momentum, then they can go to someone who advises on momentum products. So those are tied financial advisors who can only offer financial products from their companies and so on, because they are hired by these companies. And then there are non-tied financial advisors. So these advisors offer financial products from different companies, and they are independent and they are not affiliated with any financial services company, with any big brand. They offer products from Old Mutual, they offer products from Sanlam, they offer products from Momentum. You, the client, choose which products you want to use, or the financial planner actually decides what financial products is relevant for you in all of these different choices they have. So this is where the conduct and intermediary services comes in. So if it's an intermediary services, it means that the financial planner then connects you with these companies. It connects you, the client, with these companies and offers an intermediary service of connecting you with these companies, and also offers you advisory services where they advise you on what products to choose. Now, you are at the mercy of the advisor because the advisor has all of the information, and it's quite important that you understand the difference between a tied advisor and an untied advisor. This doesn't mean that if an advisor is tied, he is incompetent, or if an advisor is not tied, he is more competent. Just a distribution model of the financial products. So, for example, I'm hired by a financial services company, one of the biggest ones in South Africa, and I can only graduate a diploma in financial planning, and I want to be a certified financial planner, which is the highest qualification and standard for financial advisors in South Africa and the world at large, because it's an international qualification in international body. But I can only offer products from this company. Unless I go into an independent company, then I can offer products from different companies. But this doesn't disadvantage anyone, because at the end of the day, financial products are just solutions to the overall plan, and they are similar. Actually, there's not much of a difference between a product that is offered by Momentum or a product that is offered by Sanlam or Old Mutual. If it's a retirement annuity, if I make a financial plan for you and I see that you need to top up your retirement savings, I will offer you a retirement annuity from the company I work for, because I am tied to that company. But if I was working for a brokerage company which was independent, I could offer you a retirement annuity from Sanlam or Old Mutual or Momentum, any of these companies. But the fact is, and the basis is, that I would offer you a retirement annuity because that's what you would need. That would be a solution, a product that you would need, regardless of what product provider it would come from, and so on. So that's quite important to understand how the distribution of these financial products and financial solutions is structured through tied advisors and non-tied advisors. So the most important part I'd like to say is understanding the competencies of a financial planner. What does a financial planner have to be competent on? Umuntu ok-advisayo yini emele ayazi ukuze ubone ukuthi this person is really good at what they do. Financial planning and financial advice is basically tailored around law, and your financial planning and financial advice is basically tailored around law, and your financial advisor must have legal and technical competency. So I don't mean that he has to be a lawyer. He doesn't have to be a lawyer or an accountant, but he's generally similar, and he has a generally similar skills to accountants and lawyers. Take a doctor, a general practitioner, a GP. A GP is not a specialist such as a pediatrician or a cardiologist, a doctor of the heart, or a pediatrician, a doctor for children, or a gynecologist. He is just a general practitioner who can identify that you have certain symptoms that are related to your heart, and then he can refer you to a cardiologist. Similarly, a financial planner in your life may see that, for example, you need estate planning services. You need to set up your trust. You need to set up your will. He himself may not know how to draft a will and how to do a trust, but he knows that you need a trust. He can identify that you need a trust and you need a will, and he knows where to refer you and so on to actually create the trust and create that will. So I liken a financial advisor, a financial planner, to a general practitioner, a GP doctor, who is someone who is a generalist and a general practitioner, and can point you to the right direction and point you to the right specialists. Of course, if he knows what is bothering you and he can help you with it, he can give you medicine or prescribe something for you and actually give you medicine. But if something is much more than his skills, then he'll send you to a specialist that is focused on is. For example, where I work, we have access to legal advisors. So if I identify that you as a client need a will, then I will refer you to my legal advisor, or we'll have a meeting with a legal advisor. And if I see that you need estate planning services, you need to set up a trust, then I'll refer you to my legal advisor and so on. So that's what I'm talking about. So in closing, and most importantly, this relationship between you and the financial planner is based on honesty and trust. You need to deal with someone you trust, and you need to establish that relationship of trust, because a financial planner should be someone you grow with, and not someone you just meet today and they sell you financial products and they just leave you. So my friend always makes an example about white people and black people, and then he says that the only difference between a white person and a black person is the information they have about planning and about financial planning and about money, basically. Take a 60-year-old white person. By the time he retires at 60 and he talks to his financial planner, he knows his options at retirement. He knows the retirement planning law, the Pension Funds Act law, the income tax law, as well as investing psychology and investing foundations and fundamentals. He will be talking and having a conversation with the financial advisor and talking about all of these laws and the different options they have. However, if you take a black person, a mother or a father at 60 years old, uzothola ukuthi akazi naye ama-options akhe at retirement, akazi lutho about investments, akazi lutho about tax and the tax is going to be charged. He doesn't know about investment psychology and all that. He doesn't know about investment psychology and all that. It's information, I know. And it would be bad for me if I would ngibagxeke labo bantu and say bad things about them, because I know that they come from a hard background. As black people, we know the history of South Africa and the history of the world at large. But for me and you as young people, it's quite important for us to be informed about money, to be informed about wealth creation, to be informed about wealth preservation, so that in future we may be able to pass on these skills to our children. We also may be able to create our wealth and so on. And for the people who say they don't want financial advisors, there's a lot of DIY products you can use in South Africa for investing and insurance and so on. There's the likes of, I think there's a company called PPS. They offer financial products and financial services through an electronic way of financial planning, if I can put it that way, because you just put in your goals in their system, you put in your age, your profile and everything, and then it gives you the financial products you need. So you can take that route if you don't want a financial advisor. But financial advisors, in my opinion, are still important because they offer you that tailored and personal experience and so on. And you need to be honest with the financial advisor about your financial situations. And basically, you need to be naked in a financial sense. When you meet your doctor and your doctor says you must strip because they want to check something on you, you strip and you don't really question them because they have authority in their doctors. But when it comes to financial advisors, you're like, why do you want to know this information? Why should I tell you this? Why should I tell you that? And by doing that, you don't allow the financial advisor to create you. So that's basically what the relationship between the financial planner and the client should be. It should be based on trust and mutual understanding and respect. And the financial planner should be someone who is technically competent when it comes to law and comes to taxes and so on. And you should be honest and tell the truth to the financial advisor. So that's basically it, and that's all for today. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's show, and I'll see you on the next one. On the next series, I'll be talking